Welcome to the Hustle Skirt Podcast, the show that brings you economic equity for everyone, every day, with your host, Debra Gould. Yes, I am Debra Washington Gould, President and CEO of Debra Gould and Associates, Inc., a management consulting and performance management business based in New Orleans, Louisiana, since 1996. Please visit my website at www.gouldassociates.com, all one word, gouldassociates.com, where you can learn more about my professional service offerings in training, facilitating, executive coaching, management consulting, assessments and survey, and keynote presentation. That's the business side. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing someone I've been wanting to get on the Hustle Skirt podcast for so long, since the inception of creating this particular podcast, Dr. Margaret Montgomery-Richard. In a moment, I'm going to introduce her to you, but let me give a quick overview, just in case there are some listeners for the very first time watching the Hustle Skirt podcast. And we are blessed to have Dr. Margaret Montgomery-Richard today. So the mission of the Hustle Skirt podcast is to promote, communicate, and amplify the influence of men and women entrepreneurs for profit. You heard me right, for profit. And on occasion, I will invite a C-suite or a higher executive in the nonprofit or corporate arena. With that being said, that's the backdrop, the good intention of the Hustle Skirt. But my big why is I must be the change I want to see in others. I come from this space of and a mindset of abundance mentality, never scarcity mentality. So the people that I'm inviting to the Hustle Skirt, they are contributors, they are collaborators, challengers, and their commitment to what they bring in terms of their business advocacy, in terms of policy, and what they give back in a mentor or protege relationship to pass the baton. So you're going to always see amazing people who are influencers, as you see today with Dr. Margaret Montgomery-Richard. With that being said, I'm going to welcome my guest. Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Deborah, and thank you for having me this afternoon.
You are more than welcome. You just don't know how long I've been waiting to have this spotlight moment, because I want if I know Dr. Margaret Montgomery-Richard, I want everybody to know this amazing woman. So give me this opportunity, Margaret, to introduce and share your credential. It's so wonderful to hear this great information, and I want my audience to know. So here we go. Dr. Margaret Richard, Ph.D., is a distinguished educator, community leader, and entrepreneur, brings a wealth of experience to her roles. Notably, she serves as the Chancellor of Louisiana Technical College, LTC, excuse me, overseeing 40 campuses during the challenging post-Katrina period. Dr. Montgomery-Richard is recognized as a complete College America Fellow and PEP coach, exemplifying her commitment to educational excellence and innovation. As a principal at DMM and Associates, LLC, a woman-owned firm based in Louisiana, Dr. Montgomery-Richard specializes in crafting human capital strategies to cultivate high-performance organizations. Before her chancellorship, she held key leadership positions within Louisiana community and technical college system, including Senior Vice President for Academic and Student Services. Her extensive background also includes roles as Provost of Delgado Community College City Park Campus, Dean of Workforce Development and Education, Assistant to College Presidents, and Adjunct faculty members. In the aftermath of Katrina, Dr. Montgomery-Richard's expertise became instrumental in including and guiding organizations through rebuilding efforts. She adeptly assesses organizational culture, management, and leadership challenges, developing strategic solutions to address core business and workforce needs. Dr. Montgomery-Richard earned her BA in marketing from Southeastern Louisiana University, a Master of Public Administration, and a Doctorate of Philosophy from the University of New Orleans. She holds Management and Leadership Education Certificate from Harvard Graduate School, further enhancing her credentials as a visionary leader in education and business. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome to you my friend, my support system, a brilliant woman who's doing amazing things in the business community as a minority and woman owned business. I bring to you Dr. Margaret Montgomery-Richard. Hello, Margaret.
Thank
I
you,
had to do
Debra.
it this way. I had to do it, Margaret.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You don't listen to yourself. You don't read your stuff. And to hear it
Well,
is
it was
interesting.
my pleasure to read it because I want my audience to know while we may be friends in a kind and nurturing relationship, I wanted them to hear the full credential. And one thing that I left out that is so significant with all that I shared in your credentials, I want folks to know here is how you can reach DMM and Associate LLC. I'll share the website, and Margaret, there will be an opportunity when in your spotlight if there's any other information that you care to share. But for now, for those wanting to learn more about your services, please visit the website at www.dmmassociate.com. All one word, dmmassociate.com. With that being said, I'm going to say to my buddy, hello, hello, hello.
Hello. How are you on this lovely day? It's been some
It
beautiful
is,
days here.
it is,
Yes, it has.
it is. So let's do this, Margaret. All of my guests know that I generally like to start out with a general, specific, and a fun question. So if you're ready to play with me in our sandbox, let's just do this because I'm eager to get to that spotlight moment. If I know
Okay.
about DMM and Dottie and Margaret, I want others to know how to call you to do business.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my general question. Tell me about the first moment you stood up for yourself.
Okay. Do you want me to do like a two-parter? Because you wanted to hear initially, I know it was supposed to
You,
be
Margaret, you get
two
to
of
do
us.
any. You get to do it
So
any way you want to.
I guess, in this time, as long as we have been involved in business and education, there's been several times where we've had to stand up for ourselves, right? And so, in terms of us seeking business, I can remember, and you probably can, and you've had this experience where you're working with subcontractors or a prime who include you in a proposal and they are successful in winning the contract. But for some reason, they forget to tell you that they've won the contract or that they've won the contract and you've been engaged in meetings with them, but all of a sudden you get excluded from the meetings, but they still are reporting as if you're at the table. And so you have to sometimes there's been times, many times, that we've had to just speak up for ourselves and call to their attention that the services that we say we were going to provide, we expect to be compensated for them. We're not a pass-through business. We expect to do the work and be compensated for it. So that has happened several times. And another time, as I matriculated and worked on a doctorate degree, when it was time for my defense, my major professor decided that she would not schedule my defense. And with that, I had to actually go to the dean, and I was headed to the president's office at the university because that decision, her decision to not allow me to do my defense or not schedule it, is memorable because there was a lot of anxiety, time and tasks and money that had gone into that. And I was on the last leg of this work and just did not tolerate that. So as a result of that, I spoke up for myself. I changed my whole committee. I got rid of her as a chair. And you know, you in life, you just have to make some decisions and recognize that what without speaking up for yourself can in the long run be traumatic and hang around for, they say when you have a traumatic experience, it could last for 23 years. And it can, you know, when things happen. So, you know, in this world, in this life, in particular, as women in business, or pursuing anything that is perceived to be headed toward the C-suite and that glass ceiling space, you have to stand up for yourself.
Beautifully said. And I'm glad you approach it and taking a two pathway from the educational. If I know Margaret, straightforward, direct, and hold nothing back. So I know you defended yourself well to a point that you had to end up getting a whole new committee. And so you've earned that credential. The second piece,
Mhm.
initially you talked about dealing with just in business in terms of the prime contractor. I've had the opportunity to work with DMM and Associates, and I've been blessed by both you and Dottie to partner with you. And I know that you can speak up. And so whether the prime say, look, we're not a pass through. We're gonna bring value, but you're not gonna just use my company name. I can see you right now having a voice at the table. So thank you for sharing that important piece with my listening audience who may have had a similar experience to know that you have to speak up and speak out because too many times primes will do that. They know how to find you, and then all of a sudden you're not in the room anymore.
Right.
So you just helped someone who's going to watch this interview. Thank you, Margaret, for doing that. So we're going to keep it going. So here's my specific question. What was your mission at the start of your company business?
Well, we started in 2006, right after Katrina. And, you know, Katrina happened in August, and we started in July of 2006. And what we were observing was there were many companies trying to rebuild, restructure, because Katrina left an absolute complete void in some phases of Southeast Louisiana. So many organizations, companies actually lost their entire workforce. And as they were rebuilding in that post-Katrina era where they were hiring staff that didn't know each other. You know, they were mixing individuals from different backgrounds, from different cultures to rebuild their organizations. So we started with actually creating high performance organizations help through human capital. And because we know that it takes human capital to build a solid organization. So we began to get out there and do, just as I mentioned in my vitae, you know, conducting organization assessments and cultural assessments, looking at leadership styles, trying to help companies come up with strategic solutions to get back in the game. And it ran the gamut. It ran from, we were dealing with social service agencies that were working in the various they had the trailer communities that were built all across the state. So we were working for the Health and Human Services. We worked for private industry, private companies that were trying to rebuild their workforce. And because, we came to the entity with Dottie came out of healthcare, I came out of higher ed. I served in workforce as workforce dean and had built the community and technical college system as part of that team. And so we took our tasks, our experiences. And so D is for Dottie, M is for Margaret, and M is for Melanie. So we had another business partner, and she was the finance person. And initially, we did this work. We came up with a plan at a kitchen table, believe it or not, in Baton Rouge. And so, using all of our skills, knowledge, and experience to be able to help other companies rebuild. And that's where we started. And we continue to do a good bit. I mean, I think, Debra, some of the work we've done have been with organizations trying to do assessments and, what now is becoming like the taboo words of diversity, equity, and inclusion out here, But we did that work, and it was good. It was very good. And then we transitioned into where we were doing some uh, diversity, equity, and inclusion work, but around DE&I on construction projects and DBE work, and helping build and ensure that small disadvantaged businesses actually got an opportunity to work on contracts. And so we were able to kind of break in as we transition from just doing organizations to really working with construction companies to do a better job of identifying small women-owned minority companies to actually participate in the state and local DBE programs. So it's been, that kind of work, always wanting to be able to give access and opportunity to small businesses and build stronger companies.
And you make such a difference in the business community to reach back, because firms like myself have had opportunity to work with both you and Dottie. But I learned something new today. I never knew the second M was
I
for.
know lots of
You
people.
also use an acronym that maybe my listening audience, DBE, it could be
Uh-huh.
just something regional within our New Orleans based disadvantaged business enterprise,
Yes,
even though it's in other major cities, but DBE could be something very distinct. So I just wanted
right.
to clarify that. So, one final question, then I'm going to turn it over to you in your spotlight moment. Here's a fun one. What motivates you? You're a shaker
Oh,
and mover and an influencer. I know there's a lot of things that motivate you, but I want you to tell us what motivates Margaret Montgomery-Richard.
well, being native New Orleanian and having watched our city evolve into this, really, it's a culture mecca. If people would allow us to be who we are in our authentic selves. Uh, but anything related with the community, I am born bred and been very fortunate to have had a good career here at home. Many people aspire to achieve certain levels. I don't even know if I really set out to become a chancellor, for example, I've owned several small companies. I've owned accessory business because I came out of marketing, and my real first job was assistant buyer for DH Home. Some people may remember that, and followed by I owned a consultancy called Edgework that I did consultants with workforce development programs in the Department of Labor and labor unions. And so for me, I have a very blurred line between work and fun, to be honest. And some people probably say just work too much. But I'm motivated by new and innovative ideas, new opportunities to be on that creative end, to help develop those strategies, to make a difference, to provide access and opportunities to, in some cases, marginalized people. Okay, I have always worked in when I got out of retail and went into education. My focus was always on workforce development, always on providing access, because education is still the key. And so, in our business, in our work, we have created opportunities for individuals. We've had on certain projects up with 40 young men and women working on contracts. And so that is what motivates me to be able to provide opportunities and access for others to be able to experience a certain quality of life and to know that you can have it. So I spend, I guess, most of my time working in those various arenas. And I think I'm known for that by some people because they'll call me for projects, always a project. And we
Well,
get it done.
here's what we're gonna do. You'll get a chance to say some more about the projects. Um, This is your spotlight moment. If you can take 3 minutes, please include your contact information. I've just shared the website, but if there's anything else you would like other folks to know how to reach DMM and Associate LLC, this is your spotlight moment. If you would just we'll manage these 3 minutes and I'll close out. And you know that I'm just tickled pink that I finally got to connect with Margaret because you're always so busy.
Oh, well, thank you, Deborah, for having me and having me be part of the podcast. I would say
I wanted this group of stellar women and men and women of influence to be a part of this vision, this purpose for this podcast. And I was going to keep bugging you. I was going to keep texting, calling. All right, Margaret, we all are super busy, but I
right,
like to say I'm never too busy. I'm fruitful. And so you finally slow down to make this happen. So right now
exactly.
is your mindful moment to just share a 3 minute spotlight. What is that you would like to share with my audience? What makes you amazing? The work that you do, business, personal, and professionally that you would like to share. And please share your contact information.
So, what makes me amazing, or as some people might think, what are those things, your capacity and the possibilities? It's what God gives you, For many of us, I know I'm not half the stuff I get to do, I cannot do it on my own. I could never have done it on my own. It is through the grace of God that He has allowed me to be able to be in spaces, places, and to be able to actually achieve so much of what has happened. And from a business standpoint, being at different tables, it's been exciting. DMM has been able to work in different arenas. Many people are always surprised by the work that Dottie and I actually get engaged in, particularly when we do construction work, because we do have hard hats and vests, okay, that we wear. And so we're on the construction side, or we're out there in the field on various projects, and this will be our 19th year doing this. It has been exciting, but we run the gambit, and we, in some cases, just come in and are contacted by companies just for advisory services and to help them identify business solutions. So the gamut runs from organizational assessments to actually developing strategies for communication for such companies even as Entergy New Orleans, Louisiana, and Mississippi. So we've been out there and we want to continue to be out there. As Deborah said, we've partnered. We've learned that it's important to, you can't necessarily do it all, but to build capacity for your company, you can reach out to others. And we've done that several times with Debra Gould and Associates. And we will continue to do that. And companies
I
will
have
reach.
fun with it that you guys have brought me in to partner. I mean, I like me even more when I'm in the same space with Margaret and Dottie because we're bouncing creative and innovative
Right,
ways and
right, right. And
business
that's
models and business strategy off each other. So I've been blessed to be in the same space when we're working together.
And that's a big plus for Dottie and I that we have each other to bounce ideas off. Sometimes when you're in a sole proprietorship entrepreneurial experience, you're in there talking to yourself and you're not quite sure if self is answering you. So, to have a different perspective and have somebody there to be able to share those ideas with, or even to say, I don't think that's a good idea. If in our business, if one of us doesn't feel like it's the way to go, we pretty much put the brakes on and don't do it. So I would say if you want to get and learn more about DMM and Associates, Deborah shared our website, www dmmassociates.com. We're located in New Orleans. And on our webpage, you can get the information. Also, our phone number is there, and you can email us. But we're available to assist organizations. Many times we go in and we're quiet. We like the quiet people in the background, helping to build strong organizations and creativity, and actually helping companies reach their bottom line, and that's to make a profit.
We did it. We did it. We got it in. All right. Yeah, and you know how long I've been waiting for this to happen, and
Oh,
we finally got it done.
we got it
So
done.
at this stage, Margaret, I'm going to say thank you for the value of your time. And
And thank you for having me.
absolutely, absolutely. I've been blessed by both you and Dottie so many times. I said, from the moment I started making a list of all these amazing, phenomenal women, I kept saying, Margaret, Dottie. And then you guys were either out of the country or you was working on a major project. I said, I'm going to keep asking. And we made it happen today. So
Well, I
at
appreciate you.
this
Thank you.
at this moment, we're going to go ahead and close out the show. Uh, I just want everyone to know again, the Hustle Skirt podcast objective is to empower you to speak up and speak out. Didn't you hear that from Margaret today, especially around her PhD program? Embrace change in your own vision, mission, and purpose. Get fired up the way you hear my guests today from DMM. They're passionate about the work in every industries that they've had an opportunity and privilege to work with clients. Make sure to visit the website so you can watch this interview with Dr. Margaret Montgomery-Richard today at persistencelane.com. All one word, persistencelane.com, where you can subscribe to the Hustle Skirt podcast. There will be 9 different platforms that you can visit, from Apple's, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Player FM, Amazon Music, Podchaser, and also Podbean. But we won't stop there. You can also find this interview on YouTube under persistentlane.com, as well as the website persistentlane.com. And Margaret will have her own Pacific interview, but I'm going to broadcast it on my social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and my personal Facebook and business Facebook page. So there's multiple ways you'll have a chance to really hear this interview with my guest, Dr. Margaret Montgomery-Richard, on the Hustle Skirt podcast. So as I make my final remarks, you are listening to the Hustle Skirt podcast, the show that brings you economic equity for everyone, every day, with your host and founder, Debra Washington Gould. Margaret, I love you. Thank you for blessing me today.
Love you too. Thank you for having me.
Make yourself a great week on purpose. Until we meet again, take care, my friend.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.